Over 40 cutting-edge fighter jets, advanced combat drones, a multi-billion-dollar deal that could reshape South Asia's defense landscape. Pakistan and Indonesia are on the verge of a defense agreement that has everyone from New Delhi to Washington paying attention. But here's what makes this story explosive. Pakistan, once seen as just an arms importer, is now transforming into a regional defense powerhouse. And India is watching very closely. I am going to reveal how Pakistan went from buying weapons to selling them, what this Indonesia deal really means, and why India should be concerned. Let's dive in. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then please do so, as this means a lot to me. Indonesia's Defense Minister Lieutenant General Sjafrie Sjamsoeddin just wrapped up crucial meetings in Islamabad with Pakistan's Air Force Chief Marshal Zaheer Babar Sidhu and Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir. According to 3 security sources, the talks are in advanced stages for a deal involving over 40 JF-17 Thunder fighter jets and Pakistan's Shahpar drones. Indonesia isn't just any buyer. This is Southeast Asia's largest economy with world's 4th largest population. They have recently ordered 42 French Rafale jets worth $8.1 billion and 48 Turkish KAAN fighters. Yet they are turning to Pakistan. Why? The answer lies in 3 words: combat, proven, and affordability. Let's talk a little about Pakistan's defense transformation. So let's rewind. At independence in 1947, Pakistan had virtually no military production capability. Fast forward to 2026, and the country has managed to achieve something remarkable. Pakistan signed defense contracts worth nearly $10 billion over fiscal year 2024-2025 with Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. Pakistan's actual defense exports hovers between $300 million to $500 million. But the real game changer came in May 2025 during a 4-day conflict with India. Pakistan claimed its JF-17 successfully targeted and destroyed an Indian S-400 system at Adampur. Though this claim remains unverified and disputed by India, suddenly the world was watching. As Pakistan's Army Chief Marshal Asim Munir stated, "Our recent war with India demonstrated our advanced capabilities to the world." Pakistan's defense portfolio is more impressive than most people realize. Aircrafts like the JF-17 Thunder has been co-developed with China. This multi-role fighter features AESA radar, beyond visual range missiles, and costs just $25 to $30 million per unit, significantly cheaper than Western alternatives like the F-16. The Super Mushak aircraft, which is a turboprop trainer that's been exported to Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and multiple other nations, and also the K-8 Karakoram aircraft, which is an advanced jet trainer developed with China. Pakistan's ground system consists of the Al-Khalid main battle tank, a 46-ton 3rd generation tank with a 125 mm smoothbore gun, capable of 70 km per hour speeds, powered by a Ukrainian engine and featuring composite armor and ERA protection. Pakistan's next ground system is the Haider tank, the latest development based on Chinese VT technology with enhanced mobility and lethality. And the next ground system is the Al-Zarrar tank, comprehensive upgrade of the Type 59 with over 500 tanks modernized. Pakistan's unmanned system consists of the Shahpar-III, advanced combat drone with 35,000 foot ceiling, 24+ hour endurance, capable of carrying bombs, missiles, and torpedoes. And the next is the Babar UAV, armed drone with surveillance and strike missions. Pakistan's naval system consists of the Augusta 90B submarines, built with French technology transfer, featuring air-independent propulsion, and the Hangor-class submarines, 8 units based on Chinese Type 039B design. Pakistan's ordnance factories at Wah produce ammunitions, rifles, and artillery pieces for both domestic use and export. Pakistan isn't just talking about exports, they are closing deals. Azerbaijan, the crown jewel, Initially a $1.6 billion deal signed in February 2024 for 16 JF-17 Block 3 fighters. This was later expanded to a massive $4.6 billion contract with 40 aircrafts. In November 2025, Azerbaijan unveiled 5 JF-17s during its Victory Day parade in Baku, formally making it the third foreign operator of the aircraft. The next is Libya. In December 2025, the Libyan National Army signed a $4 billion deal for 16 JF-17s and 12 Super Mushak trainers. Pakistan's entry into the North African market. Saudi Arabia. Negotiations worth $2 to $4 billion involving converting Saudi loans into military equipment, primarily JF-17 jets with weapons and maintenance packages. Bangladesh. With political changes in 2024, ties have improved dramatically. Discussions include JF-17 Thunders and Super Mushak trainers. Bangladesh's Air Chief praised Pakistan Air Force's combat record and expressed interest in modernizing their aging fleet. Sudan, a potential $1.5 billion deal covering light attack aircraft, drones, air defense systems, and possibly JF-17 fighters. Nigeria, in 2021, Nigeria brought 3 JF-17 jets, making it the second country to purchase the aircraft. The 3 jets were delivered in May 2021 and inducted into the Nigerian Air Force. Myanmar became the first export customer, ordering 16 JF-17s in 2015. However, only 7 have been delivered so far due to sanctions following the 2021 military coup. Pakistan is also in talks with Malaysia, Egypt, and Iraq, countries traditionally aligned with the Western or Russian suppliers. Now let's talk about some of the interesting facts which I'm sure you don't know. Fact 1 is the production challenge. Pakistan Aeronautical Complex at Kamra can produce 50 to 60 aircrafts per year. With contracts of 76 to 96 JF-17s in the pipeline, plus domestic requirements, Pakistan faces a capacity challenge. The solution? Potentially expanding production facilities and seeking foreign investment. Fact 2 is the Turkish connection. Turkey is reportedly establishing a combat drone assembly facility in Pakistan. This technology transfer would give Pakistan access to world-class drone technology, a game changer for asymmetric warfare capabilities. Fact 3 is the indigenous innovation. Pakistan now manufactures its own 125mm tank gun barrels, previously imported from France, showing genuine progress towards self-reliance. The heavy mechanical complex and People's Steel Mills collaborated to produce these critical components. Fact 4. The price advantage that changes everything. Here's where Pakistan's strategy becomes crystal clear. A JF-17 costs between $25 to $30 million per unit. Now let's check the pricing of different fighter jets. JF-17 Thunder prices between $25 to $30 million per unit. The Chinese J-10 is around $50 million per unit. French Rafale is over $90 million per unit. The Swedish Gripen is more than $100 million per unit. The US F-35 Lightning II costs more than $109 million per unit. And the Eurofighter Typhoon is around $117 million per unit. That's a price differential of 3 to 4 times compared to Western jets. For budget-conscious air forces in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, this is revolutionary. You can buy 3 to 4 JF-17s for the price of a single Rafale or F-35. And here's the kicker. The JF-17 has proven itself in combat against these very same Western systems. Fact 5 is combat proven, not just marketing hype. The other appeal of the JF-17s is that they have already proven themselves in combat with India, not just once, but twice. In 2019, during Operation Swift Retort following the Balakot strikes, JF-17s took part in Pakistan's retaliatory airstrikes against India. Most significantly, during the May 2025 India-Pakistan conflict, JF-17s were deployed in both air-to-air and air-to-ground roles, and Pakistan claimed that its JF-17 successfully targeted and destroyed an Indian S-400 missile defense system at Adampur Air Force Station using CM-400 AKG long-range supersonic air-to-surface missiles. But this claim remains unverified and was disputed by India. Whether you believe Pakistan's claims or India's counterclaims, one thing is undeniable. The JF-17 engaged in high-intensity combat against one of the world's most advanced air forces equipped with French Rafales, Russian Su-30s and sophisticated air defense systems. For potential buyers, this real-world combat validation is worth more than any brochure or any airshow demonstration. What does this mean for India? The first being strategic encirclement concerns. Pakistan's defense deals with Azerbaijan, Libya, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, and now potentially Indonesia create a network of countries operating Pakistani weapon systems. This isn't just about economics, it's about building strategic depth and diplomatic influence. The second is technology demonstration effect. Every JF-17 that performs well in foreign service validates Pakistan's defense capabilities. The May 2025 conflict became an unintended marketing campaign. The third is regional power balance. Bangladesh acquiring JF-17s is particularly significant. It's right on India's eastern border. Indonesia, while geographically distant, is ASEAN's largest nation. These aren't minor players, they are regional powers. The fourth is the Chinese factor. The JF-17 is co-produced with China. Every export strengthens the Pakistan-China defense partnership and extends Chinese influence through dual-use technology. For India, facing challenges on both its northern, China, and western, Pakistan borders, this coordination is concerning. The fifth is economic implications. India has positioned itself as an arms importer working towards self-reliance. Pakistan's export success challenges this narrative. If Pakistan, with a smaller economy, can export advanced weapon systems, it raises questions about India's own defense production capacity. The sixth is the arms race dynamic. As Pakistan earns revenue from exports, it can reinvest in modernization. The reported $10 billion in defense contracts signed over 2024-2025 fiscal year provides capital for R&D and new acquisitions. Pakistan's actual annual defense exports hovers between $300 million and $500 million. This self-sustaining model reduces Pakistan's dependence on foreign supplies while funding military advancement. And the seventh is diplomatic leverage. Defense partnerships create diplomatic obligations. Countries operating Pakistani equipment develop institutional relationships, joint training, maintenance support, spare parts supply. This web of connections gives Pakistan diplomatic leverage in multilateral forums. The bigger picture we are witnessing is Pakistan's transformation from a regional military power to an emerging defense exporter. The ingredients for this success are combat validation from the 2019 and 2025 conflicts with India, Chinese technology partnership providing advanced systems at competitive prices, strategic positioning as sanctions-resistant supplier, aggressive marketing at international defense exhibitions, and flexible financing including loan conversion deals. Countries facing Western sanctions or seeking diversification find Pakistan attractive. The geopolitical landscape is shifting. Traditional suppliers like Russia are constrained by the Ukraine conflict. Western weapons come with political strings, and China's direct exports carry reputational risks. Pakistan offers a middle path. Pakistan faces real obstacles ahead, the first being production capacity. Meeting export commitments while equipping domestic forces requires expanding manufacturing capability. The second is technology dependence. Heavy reliance on Chinese subsystems and Ukrainian engine creates supply chain vulnerabilities. The third is international scrutiny. Selling to conflict zones like Libya and Sudan invites criticism and potential restrictions. The fourth is quality assurance. Maintaining consistent quality across increased production volumes is crucial for reputation. And the fifth is after sales support. Long term maintenance, spare parts supply, and technical assistance requires significant investment. Do you think Pakistan's defense exports represent a genuine strategic shift in South Asian power dynamics? Or is this a temporary boom driven by recent conflicts? And more importantly, should India be concerned? Or is this being overblown? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this analysis valuable, smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into South Asian geopolitics, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I break down India's response strategy in my next video. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious.